It's that time again to compare a PCP deal with a lease deal. Stay tuned. So welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here again with another quick finance related car video for you. What I'm going to do today is compare a PCP with a lease, looking at it from two different scenarios, and we're going to look at which would work best for both of those scenarios. So what do I mean by that? Well, they're both going to be on 48 months. They're both going to have the same deposit. And what we're going to do is look at, let's take a worst case example where we need to get out of the vehicle halfway through. Which is easiest, which is cheapest to do. And then also we're going to look at which is cheapest if we run both deals right to the end and we hand the car back. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I nipped over to BMW, just picked a car at random, and they've currently got an offer on the BMW 320i MSport Saloon, 2.9% APR, and they are saying with a deposit of I think originally, let me just reset this because I was playing with this earlier. Let's just go back into this. So they were saying, that's right, so with a deposit of 4,739 and a contribution from them of 2,178.44, it was coming out at £389 a month. And if we go to the full quote, we can see that the guaranteed future value is 14,901.75. Now this is a 48-month agreement, 47 equal monthly payments. Month 48, the optional payment is at month 48 for 14,901.75. So what we're going to do is try and get a similar quote from a lease company. So I've been over to leaseloco.com, really useful website this if you want to compare leases. And I've found the same car, BMW 3 Series 320i MSport, and with a lease, as you'll probably know, you can't put the exact deposit amount in. What the deposit is based on effectively is a multiple of the monthly payment. So for example, if you have one upfront monthly payment, in this example we would put 1 month in at the beginning and then we'd have 47 equal payments. So in that example, the monthly fee is £398.89. If we put a bigger deposit in, so three monthly payments to begin with and then 47 equal payments, it comes down to £382, and then 6 months it comes down to £361, 9 months comes down to £341, etc. So what we'll do, we'll take the middle ground and we'll say, okay, we're going to put in 6 months up front. Now it tells me here that equates to 2406.36. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2406.36 as our deposit on the PCP quote. So 2406.36. Okay, so ignore their deposit contribution. This is how much we're putting in at the beginning. So we are putting in 2406.36 on the PCP and 2406.36 on the lease. They're both on 10,000 miles per year. And as you can see, the monthly payment on the PCP is coming out at 441.52, and on the lease it's coming out at 361.26. So you can see the lease is certainly cheapest on a month by month basis. How much cheaper is it? Let's just do a little spreadsheet to work this out. So the lease is 361.26 and the PCP was 441.52. So the difference between those is that minus that. No, it's not. My microphone got it away. That minus that. So £80.26 a month. Let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on here. There you go. So £80.26 a month. So over the 47 payments, if you like, the lease is £3,772.20. I can't read tonight. £3,772.22 cheaper. Okay, so if you were to run the PCP and the lease right to the end, it's a no-brainer. You can see that it's £3,772 cheaper over the term. We put the same deposit in, remember, and that's assuming that we don't go over the mileage in both cases. Okay. Now, the interesting question though is what would happen if we say we're desperate to get out of these cars 2 years in, 24 months in. With a PCP, and people don't often realise this, they think they've got to run full term, you can effectively trade in the car, sell the car anytime you like. The caveat really is that you can't sell a car that you don't own. So really you need to pay the finance off first if you're going to certainly sell it privately, and then sell it. Okay, but let's assume we're going to take it to somewhere like WeBuyAnyCar.com, no affiliation with them, but if you do, they will get a settlement figure from the finance company and they will settle the finance for you, and if there's any equity left they'll give it back to you, and if you're in negative equity you'll top it up. With a lease it's not so easy. Leases tend to have to run full term without hefty penalties. Now the penalty would depend on the lease company, the finance company, etc. But let's assume that the penalty is 50% of all of the outstanding payments left to make, and we'll compare the two. So let's say we, at 24 months on the lease, we will have paid 24 times 36126, okay, 8,670. And on a PCP we will have paid 44152 times 24, so we will have paid 10,596. Okay, so yes, we'll have paid more on the PCP than the lease, but what's our penalty going to be to get out of the lease? So let's have a look at that. So lease penalty, and it could change, it could be different, it could be all of the payments, but I'm just assuming that you're probably going to have to at least pay 50% of the outstanding lease payments to get out of the car. So if that's the case, we're going to have to pay 12 more payments, okay, 50% of the amount outstanding. There's 24 months outstanding, so we've got to pay half of that. So we've got to pay 12 times 36126. So we've got to pay 433512, okay. How would it work with the PCP then? So what you do with the PCP is they would phone up the finance company, get a settlement figure, and then we would see what the car was worth. So what I've done earlier, I went over to Auto Trader, and on a 2-year one of these, like BMW 3 Series, 2 litre, 320i MSport Auto, I've said the mileage is 16,000. So let's actually change that to make it 20,000, because that's how much we would have done in theory halfway through this agreement. So let's go for a 3 Series. Variant is a saloon. Derivative is a 2 litre 320i MSport saloon, probably that one. Reg date now, it's July 2021 now, so let's say it was registered in July 2019, and we've done 20,000 miles. So in theory, the part exchange value here is coming at 23,600. So if we go to the old spreadsheet, and you can get a copy of this spreadsheet for yourselves, if you send me an email to this address here, for a one-off donation of £10, you'll get as many updates to this spreadsheet as I care to make, and people are finding it really useful. You can compare different PCP agreements, you can find when your voluntary termination point is, and importantly, certainly for this example, is it's got an amortization table which gives you the settlement figure at any given month throughout the agreement. So in this case, look, on the PCP, at month 24, we would owe roughly 23,950-ish, okay, give or take a few charges depending on what charges are made by the finance company when you settle early, but let's say it's 23,950. So what we need to do now, look, is our settlement on the lease at 24 months is there, which was there. Okay, so 23,944.49. How much is the car worth at that point? Well, in theory, according to Auto Trader, it's worth 23,600. So we can stick that into here, look, 23,600, and it tells me that we would have to find £344.49 in theory to get out of that car. So let's put that in. So we have got to pay, so let's call this PCP top up. We've got to pay that amount, 344.49. okay, so what does that mean? Well, the lease we would have paid £8,670.24 in payments plus a penalty of 4,335.12. So to get out of the lease, is going to cost us that plus that, £13,005.36, give or take a little bit. To get out of the PCP by selling it and settling the finance, in this example, would cost us 24 payments at 10,596.48 plus that bit of a top up there. So actually you can see that in this example, and we can't predict the future, I always say this is based on today's prices. Prices are significantly high at the moment on the used market, so that could be a lot different. But using today's prices and assuming the same prices on the cars 2 years ago, you can see that to get out of the PCP, it's actually, what's the difference? That minus that. So you could find it's £2,064 cheaper to get out of the PCP compared to the lease. But if you run the lease full term compared to the PCP, the lease is actually, what did we say? We said that minus that. So nearly £2,000 cheaper. So if you run full term, in this example, the lease is definitely cheaper by nearly £2,000. If you needed to sell the car, assuming you can get this Part X value, and get out of the car halfway through, and assuming that the lease penalty is 50% of the outstanding payments, which it might not be, but it is in this example, you can see that it would be significantly cheaper to get out of the PCP than the lease. There's not a lot in it, look. So 1926 better in favour of the lease if you run it full term, £2,064 better in favour of the PCP if you run it halfway. Now you might be out there thinking, well, yeah, but I've paid I've ran it for half the term. Surely with the PCP I can just give it back anyway. That's something which is often misunderstood. Voluntary termination on a PCP or an HP is such where you've paid 50% of the payments, including your interest, including your deposit. So it's not 50% of the term. So with a PCP, because you've got that massive balloon payment at the end, you never really reach the VT point until almost at the end. It's not halfway through the term. With an HP it is, because you're paying from this amount right down to zero. So somewhere in the middle, you will have paid half. But if you look on the spreadsheet, it actually will tell me that the VT point in this particular case is after 35 payments, okay, not 24. So you couldn't just give the car back on a voluntary termination basis until another 11 months had passed, okay? As I always say, please do subscribe if you've not already done so. It would really help me. I really want to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I don't think it's going to happen, but anything you can do will be really appreciated. As I said, if you want a copy of the spreadsheet I've just used, you can email me to make a one-off donation of £10, and you can also get a copy of the salary sacrifice EV company car scheme spreadsheet. I've got a new update for 45% taxpayers and people earning over £100,000 a year coming, because it's slightly different and there's even more savings to be had if you salary sacrifice, so look out for that video. And please do give this video a thumbs up if you can. Please do continue to comment and email me, and if you don't do that, I will be really unhappy. I don't know why I said that. Take care, thanks for watching, see you next time.